We rolling.
Dance with my dogs in the nighttime. That's what I see. You know, when he said we were rolling, that meant like action. That meant we were live, Lamont. That meant we were live.
What he really was saying is that was the warning shot on the DJ Envy. Like, yo, really what's about to happen? If y'all make a mistake, I'm about to walk. I'm out. I'm not part of this scene.
Oh, man. Welcome to Three Black Guys with the mic. Spud is here. Lamont is here. Maynard is here. We're here with another episode. Let me see. Lamont, let me start with you. 420. Did you? Come on, man. I'm just asking. Was it sativa? Was it Gorilla Glue?
No,
was it
I'm not
Super Lemon Haze?
No, I'm not hating on the.
You didn't hang out with Snoop? You didn't hang out with Wiz?
No.
You didn't
Everybody
hang out
that
with
knows
Cory
me.
Booker. You didn't hang out with nobody.
No, I went to the cigar spot. Had me a La Gloria, a little shot of Jack Daniels. Yes, man, and I had Jack. One of my homies was like, take a little sip.
Yeah, that's good for you. That's good for you.
I put the Kettle One down that day, a little bit of Jack, and I just had my La Gloria and let those weed smokers smoke in the back. You know what I'm saying? That's still, because in certain places, it's still illegal. So, you know, some people still out here breaking the law, bro. You know what I mean? And I am definitely not a lawbreaker.
So, Maynard, you know, as you get on 420, you know, Chuck Schumer basically said that he was looking to pass a plan to introduce legislation to decriminalize marijuana on a federal level. So is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Are we moving in the right direction when we're talking about marijuana?
Well, I don't think it's a holistic thing yet. And what I mean is this. They can decriminalize marijuana.
But wait. It comes from the earth, man.
No. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is they can decriminalize it, and that's fine. I don't necessarily, you know, I'm not a weed smoker. That's not my cup of tea, or my, that's not my bag of weed, if you will. But, I feel like what's really about to happen is that, and we already see it happening, is that, you know, a whole lot of people about to start making a whole bunch of money who don't look like us, while we still got brothers and some sisters as well who are serving time for something that these people want to mess around and get rich off of legally. And so we got to, you know, so what I'm saying is it's not holistic. We got to start talking about commuting sentences or providing significant leniency, or, you know, anybody who's had to check the box over selling weed. Like, yo, you no longer have to check the box, okay? You know, whatever the case may be, something has to happen. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not no legal scholar, but I think what's fair is what's fair. We can't let people get out here and become millionaires in Colorado and other places, and even New York, selling weed. And then we got a brother who had been previously out here selling a dime bag and is doing, you know, 18 months to 3 years or whatever the case may be.
But isn't this the time for, you know, D-boys to actually start to look at this situation as a business and say, let me take this and actually either invest in a grow house, either invest in a dispensary, so that way I don't got this problem.
Well, we've been doing that since day one. What do you mean investing in?
Yeah, no. D-boys are still trapping they're still trapping in the trap house.
But it's still a business. They had to come up with a marketing plan. They had to get sometimes it was crowdsourcing of getting
some of these people out here that don't got a marketing plan.
They were crowdsourcing.
I need for some of them to really get a better marketing plan.
Was. All of the elements of running a business.
What part of standing on the corner was a part of the marketing plan?
That's part of their street promotions. It's called guerrilla marketing. You take the product straight to the consumer. Right. It's guerrilla marketing. Is it not?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's guerrilla marketing, but I would say
it's definitely street promotion.
It's street promotion. It's street. I wouldn't say guerrilla marketing. Guerrilla marketing, but I mean, you know, let's be honest. Weed sells itself. I mean, nobody out here talking about. Nobody out here talking about.
Smoking Reggie's. Don't be out here smoking no Reggie's.
That's what I'm saying. See, Maynard, listen. I heard this the other day. There's still some weed smokers today that won't smoke weed unless it has a seed. Mm-hmm. You have some of these. I guess the way that it's grown, and please don't quote me on this. I guess they grow some of the weed that doesn't have seeds, or they take them out, or however it is, whatever it is. Some of them have all these extra chemicals. So The weed doesn't necessarily sell itself because there's so many different varieties of marijuana that's out here now. So again, it's no different than Ford Motor Company. You have these different variations. If you want they don't even make Escorts anymore, but if you want a Ford Tour, they still make Tours. Or if you want a Ford F-150, I don't know.
This is how long Lamont has not driven an American car. He don't even know the brands anymore.
Do they make Ford Escorts anymore?
No, those played out with the escort clubs back in the 80s.
Okay.
When the escort club died, no. But does it give for, I would think that if you are a young black weed seller, right, that you would say, let me try to take this to a legitimate business so at the end of the day, I don't got this problem in 10 years.
But what makes it I'm sorry, man, hold on. What makes it legitimate? See, this we going back to that ICE.
Well, I don't get the opportunity to go to jail. I'm not going to jail for me actually selling weed. So then everybody else, like Maynard said, is getting rich off of the opportunity, and I'm still in my mama's basement saying, hey, come get these dime bags with the seeds.
So Maynard, from a federal level, it still is illegal to... How does this work? Where I remember reading that you can't take the weed money to a federal bank because under federal law, marijuana is still illegal, right?
Right.
But from a state level, so, it is okay. So technically, marijuana federally is still something that's illegal.
That's right.
So we can't say it's legitimate because that dude that has the pale skin, because his ice is colder, or is it colder, Maynard?
I'm never ever responding to ice cold.
I'm just saying,
I'm never responding to that ever. My dude, we've been having that. I asked you last week to come up with a new catchphrase.
No, because it still hits home because Spud said that Darnell and Jonathan over there that's selling the dime.
Why you gotta put Darnell in this?
Why you out my man right now? Why you out my man?
You said that
Darnell, my dude. Hold on for a second. Hold on. Let's get the camera one. Listen, Darnell. I ain't had nothing to do with that. If them men come knocking at the door,
get the camera too.
Hey, you want to know who it was? It was him right there.
Out.
It was him
if
right
we
there.
out here, we not out here snitching.
Wave Lamont.
We not out here snitching.
Yeah, he out here. That's
Darnell was fictional. Darnell was just for a black person. But on the real though.
Darnell. Do you know Nato Jenkins? I don't know Nato Jenkins.
Ain't no white Darnells out there. Ain't no white Darnells out there at all.
Ain't no white Darnell.
No, but
anyway, go ahead, Lamont.
No, but I'm saying what you're saying is right though, Spud, is that because these states are, and they're making a lot of money, a lot of tax revenue, that they're putting this stamp of legitimacy. And in my opinion, it's no different than what we've been doing in our community for years. You know what I mean? So it's like, again, it's another unfortunate thing. And Maynard, you're right. There are brothers that are locked up as we speak that are basically slaves because they have a charge on something that somebody's getting, a lot of states are getting tax money off of. That's not right. Period. It's not right.
Well, I also would say this, though. I think it's not as simple as it sounds, right? So now all of a sudden you can sell weed in this state or you can have a dispensary. But if, let's say for the sake of argument, you've been to jail maybe because of selling weed in the past. Are there going to be things that they're going to do to prevent you from being able to sell it? Getting it. It's just like getting a liquor license in some instance, right? In many states, if you want to get a liquor license, you can't have a criminal record. So will they be like, yo, you've been to jail, so you can't get a dispensary license, or you can't sell weed legally in the state any longer? Because you've been to jail? Or are there going to be other kinds of fines and fees that have to be paid that make it cost prohibitive for a brother to come out and do this? So I don't know. I don't know the logistics of it, but I imagine it's not as simple as like I'm about to start selling.
Yeah, I would hope that this would be one of those things where the urban community, one, it helps actually black folks as well as that the urban community who is out there selling will actually start to invest in the opportunity for them to be able to make some money. Let me ask you this let me go to Lamont. Exhibit is fueling this thing with Diddy. 50 Cent has done it. Charlemagne asked him, and now Exhibit is fueling this thing about Diddy and the gay rumors. So, Lamont, is this something that we even care about? Would you care if you found out that Diddy liked men in a sexual way? Would you like to walk off the set right now?
Do you want to DJ envy us? Is that what you're trying to say?
You gonna hit us with a DJ?
I mean, yo,
envy?
what's up with? I see.
Hold
this.
on, let me sip my tea.
Whoa, there is absolutely no comment. Yo, so Lamont, one time in the past, let me ask this question, man. One time in the past, you worked at Bad Boy or was that Uptown, or what was the deal there?
I was at Uptown. I didn't work at Bad Boy.
Did
Uptown.
Did your paths cross with Diddy?
With Puff?
Yeah.
With Sean?
With
Yes.
Sean? Okay.
Yes.
And it was always 100 as far as that's concerned.
Oh, I mean,
This sounds like a setup.
No, in terms of
Don't
me.
go down this rabbit hole.
No, I'm just saying, like, and here's what I will say is that someone in there, we were just having this conversation before we started the show. Someone in their 20s and 30s is probably going to be somebody that's going to be different in their, late 30s, 40s, and possibly early 50s. You know what I mean? And I'm saying for me, I never saw any of that kind of behavior. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, I guess, from Wendy Williams all the way up to now, this has always been.
It's always been
in the world, right? I don't care. I guess the question is would you care if you found out and Diddy came out and was like, I'm out the closet, here I am? Would that stop your admiration for Diddy?
Lamont, he's not saying that Diddy's gay. He's asking.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying
hold on.
Exhibit is out here fueling the rumors.
Hold on. Let me ask this question then, Lamont. If you found out that...
I'm sorry, is this interview Lamont Day? I'm confused.
Let me ask this, because you ain't answered... Hold on, let me finish. If you found out that Superman was gay, would you be like, I can't be a Superman fan no more?
If you found out that Marlon Brando and Richard Pryor really had watch The Godfather anymore.
Slow that down. We ain't we ain't gonna.
Wait a minute. Quincy Jones said that Richard Pryor and Marlon Brando was out here crossing swords. We all love The Godfather. Would we not watch? Not that he's gone to glory at this point, but would we not watch The Godfather anymore if we knew that? Would you not watch JoJo Dancer? Live on Sunset Strip?
Lamont, come on, man. Just say something.
What you want me to say, bro?
I want you to answer the question.
Yes,
okay, listen.
There are two answers, yes or no.
Here's what I'm going to say, because this is the part where the social media drama is going to start for us.
Here's a better question.
Hold on. Yes, what? Yes, yes, what?
I probably would feel different about Superman if I found out that he really didn't like Lois Lane, that he liked the dude that read the Daily Planet.
Okay,
I would be,
all right, cool.
What's his name? The editor of the Daily Planet?
Mr. Parker or something like that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
If they were going off of cocktails late night, you know what I'm saying? Yes. I would feel a certain kind of way.
I'm really curious to ask this question, though, because when we asked that question about Diddy, you were very quiet. So let me just pose that same question. Why do you think that no one has ever fueled those rumors about Jay?
Z?
Yeah. Why defensive? Why defensive all of a question, Maynard? Why is it defensive?
No, stop.
Why is it an automatic? Oh no, that's absolutely not Jay. Oh, you kidding me?
No.
But then when I ask the same question about Diddy, you like?
Well, here's what I'll say.
Hold on, I'll say this. Lamont knows something.
Right.
Oh yeah. You know something. Oh yeah, you know. You done heard something.
Well, here's what I'll say. I think that some people's behaviors are different than others. Some people I think were raised different than others. Some people just have different outlooks on doing certain things. Give you an example. So I played sports at one time, right? even though you can have a room full of men in the showers in the locker room, there still is a certain etiquette, or even just going to the bathroom. Like if all three of us were, in a stall or a urinal, it's like you don't look over another man's urinal.
Face forward.
Yeah, you face forward. You know what I'm saying? Or
forward.
head down. Don't piss on the floor, head down. You don't look at another man, or peeking over. Some of that stuff you just don't do. So I think what I'm saying is that, those are some of the man laws, and everybody's man laws are different.
So you are saying that you, Diddy, and Andre Harrell were at a stall.
No.
Yo,
And
so hold on.
somebody looked
Was
over.
Andre on the right and Puff was on the left and you were in the middle?
Listen.
And somebody looked over to see.
Let me look at the camera. Let me look at the camera. Because one of Dre's brother actually pays attention to this podcast. There's no way that I'm saying that me, Andre, and Puff were in the stall together. I didn't say that.
Okay, y'all weren't in the stall together. Were y'all anywhere else together?
No. Okay. I wasn't. No.
All right. Man, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I feel like this, man. I feel like the boy Puff probably has a lifestyle that he enjoys. We're not privy to it. He's a phenomenal mogul in the hip hop industry. I wish he would get back into really making music with artists out here, instead of stunting and doing all kinds of weird things. But he's been good for the urban community. He's been good for a lot of black artists, and what he does in his bedroom, it's none of my business. I just don't like the fact that that cats will hide. Like, yo, man, just come on out. Be who you are. It's fine by me. I don't have a problem with it.
That was great. A great textbook answer.
I was really going to ask, did somebody write that? Or was that one of those?
That was so politically correct.
That was one of those, if somebody asked me this question, I already know the answer. Yes. Did you already have that?
That was good, man.
I'm saying,
bravo.
Well, I mean, because I've been asked about certain black guys, and I have had to say that.
Oh. Which one is
Good job, man. Good job.
Which one of those black guys? The top or the bottom, or the left or the right? Which one of those black guys?
I'm curious.
Did somebody ask you about? That's what I'm curious about.
Kidding. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, we got to recognize this, man. Let's be honest. There are lots of people out here. First of all, for years and years and years, we've watched movies or listened to music or whatever the case may be, and there have been gay people that we've watched on in films. Be whoever the boy that played Doogie Howser. Neil Patrick Harris. He was gay. Okay.
I didn't watch Doogie Howser. We didn't do that.
Well,
yeah, but look at Kevin Spacey, right? Nobody knew that.
Nobody knew that. I didn't know he was gay.
Until he came out and was like, "Yo, he was gay," and we were like, "Yo, okay, who knew?"
Right.
But
Usual Suspects is still one of my favorite movies. I love Usual Suspects, and it's a great movie. And him being gay doesn't change how I feel about it. It's a good movie. Or whatever. All the old dudes like the Rock Hudson dude. You know what I'm saying? Them old movies. Just because he was gay and then wound up having AIDS and unfortunately passing from AIDS, that doesn't mean that the work he did before when he was a star in Hollywood changes.
So, Lamont, you've been in the music business all your life. So it's against the rules, basically, for somebody who is homosexual to come out as a gay rapper. That's just frowned upon, period. What Maynard basically saying is that, look, if that's your thing, come out, be who you are. That's not going to be accepted in hip hop.
I think in the urban space, not just hip hop, I think in the urban space, it's looked at just a little bit differently. That's it. R&B probably is a little bit differently because here's my question. How did you feel when you heard that Teddy Pendergrass had a...
Wait a minute. Now we get let me say this now. Hold on.
We get to Philly. It's a little different.
Hold on. First of all, shout out to Teddy and the legacy. Yo, Teddy is dope. So, let's just...
Right, but what I'm saying is... Teddy
Wait a minute now.
Okay,
I'm still...
Can I speak?
No. You can't talk about Teddy Pendergrass.
Why not?
It's Philly's own, baby. Watch it.
Why can't we talk about DJ Mr. C, but we can't talk about Teddy Pendergrass?
I don't have no friends named Mr. C. I don't know no insurgents. I don't care about that. All I care about is when you talk about Teddy Pendergrass, he's legendary. Now, And it's
Wait, Mr. C ain't legendary?
It's alleged.
Let me tell you something. Okay, let me say this about C, and we'll get back to Teddy in a minute. But you're right about C.
Mr. C ain't legendary like Teddy Pendergrass.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait.
Teddy Pendergrass, my dude?
I know Maynard, but hold on.
Come on.
No, Teddy was an artist, but you have to understand what Mr. C contributed to hip hop.
I know.
I know what
Mr. C contributed, but
you have rode the jock of Big Daddy Kane since we started this podcast. Am I not right?
I've never rode a jock.
You held his jock.
I've never rode or
you said
a
Big Daddy
jock
Kane is your number one. He's your this, and that.
Big Daddy Kane is dope. But this
Agreed.
And this is what I would say. Nobody ever paid to see Mr. C on stage. Millions upon millions of nobody's ever paid to see Mr. C. No, Spud, you know this for a fact. If they said, "Oh, we got a concert and the headliner is Mr. C," nobody would ever have shown up for that. Name one. Spud, Mr. C ain't Mr. C got an album that's a Mr. C album?
But man, you still talking apples and oranges, bruh.
That's right. He's talking apples and oranges. Teddy Pendergrass is a sexual icon for women in America, and he's an amazing man. And I think y'all need to leave Teddy Pendergrass out of this damn conversation.
And men in America.
Allegedly.
So
it ain't been proven.
Wait, I'm confused. So it's okay for someone to allegedly call Puff Daddy a what do you call him in Jamaica? A bati boy? Is that how they pronounce it?
Bati boy.
Right? Which is a derogatory term, correct? Right?
Yes.
But when we say the same thing about Teddy, you get all uptight, you start swiveling in your chair a little bit. I'm confused. Is it not the same thing? Okay? Now, what's said about C, and again, I'll say it again, I know Mr. C. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm not going to lie, I felt and still feel a little certain kind of way about what allegedly I heard happened.
So let me ask you a question. So do you invite Mr. C to a barbecue? Mr. C come to your house?
We're not cool like that.
Anymore.
So we wasn't never cool like that, like you coming to the house. Like everybody still can't come to the house. Okay. But when I saw him when he had records,
Fab can come to the house, but Mr. C can't.
That's a little different.
So you can swing on your girl.
Well, all of our granddads, unfortunately, we don't want to admit it, but granddad probably used to put a two-piece on grandma. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa! What is he doing?
Right. I'm just saying. That's
hold on. Am I in the middle?
You in the middle.
Make sure the person in the middle was getting that. I just want to make sure I'm not in the middle.
No, I was in the middle last week, and Carol Williams fired me up. She flamed me up, so I can't do the middle no more.
I'm just saying, like, our grandparents, great grandparents, unfortunately, and we talked about that. Me and some of my relatives, domestic violence, unfortunately, is something that's been prevalent in the black community for a very, 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 very long.
Spud, did you see the pivot?
Did you see the pivot? Truly, because I was going to say I have absolutely no idea how we got down this road.
The pivot was my dude, you've been taking the classes. You've been taking the classes.
Is this one of those things where you're like, you know what, when I get 70 and I put a two-piece on my wife, I just want to be able to say that this has been going on in the black community all our lives.
So hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, you too can pivot just like Lamont. Just go to the Kellyanne Conway School of Pivoting, and you too can get your pivot on. Oh, now back to our show.
So that's all I'm saying.
All right, let's go to a break. Ladies and gentlemen. Stay right there. You're watching Three Black Guys with the Mic. We'll be right back right after this.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. Talk with your doctor to create a treatment plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Testing. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy.
Welcome back to Three Black Guys with the Mic. I just want to say, because I know that many of you sent this out in the show notes, there is absolutely no way in the world that LeBron James is going to go out in the first round. It's not going to happen. There is no way that Cleveland is good. No way. There's no way.
It's 2-1, my dude.
I know it's 2-1.
It's LeBron, bro. What are you talking about, man?
Yo, I'm saying, man, it's not looking good. In fact,
It's not going to happen. There's no. Did you see when LeBron won? They were already down 3 games already.
What?
There's no way that LeBron is going to let this happen. He's too good of a player.
Oh, you doing one of my moves now, Maynard?
I'm saying,
Did it freeze?
I know it ain't no freeze, no freeze. I love LeBron James. I think he's easily one of the greatest players of all time. He's probably the best player in the NBA today. But the supporting cast he has right now in Cleveland is
Didn't he pass Michael Jordan's record?
I mean, so
A couple of weeks ago, I thought he passed Michael.
I'm sorry. No.
So?
Spud. Is that a yes or a no?
That's the record that record don't count. The record that counts is.
Wait a minute. Why would that record not count?
The
So you're saying that
the only record
right
that
now,
counts
LeBron
is
James is not the best basketball player of all time?
No, he's not the best of all time. No.
Man, get out from all. You know what?
Over who?
Over who?
At least 2 players. At least
Oh,
3.
wait, Will Chamberlain?
You know, he about to say Dr. J.
Bill Russell has 11 titles. Michael Jordan got 6. Kobe Bryant got 5. And all 3 of those cats dominated their position and exhibited prowess in the NBA that they played in. I mean, it is what it is. I want Michael Jordan. I want LeBron James to be the greatest player of all time. I like LeBron James. I like his personality. I like how he carries himself on and off the court. But I mean, you can't. Facts are facts. 6 rings is 6 rings. Michael Jordan's that dude.
Okay, but let me ask you this question, and Spud, just please forgive me. When I always hear people talk about rings and championships, in order to get a ring or a championship, you have to have an ensemble of players, correct?
No. Tell me, hold on, Lamont. Tell me this.
So you say that Michael Jordan got all those rings by himself?
Yeah, I mean, he and Scotty. I mean, think about this.
So your
man made the line. Your man made the line. Y'all can't ball like Chicago.
The question was,
hold on.
He's the greatest player.
Yo, real talk. The Chicago Bulls lineup after Pippen is 3 cats named Mo.
But it was still more than just Michael Jordan. I'm saying.
Yeah, so LeBron's got.
Okay, so stop.
LeBron got
Listen,
the boy that they just got from LA. That boy is
listen,
dope.
Hey. Bring it down. Bring the blood pressure down.
Listen. The question was he the greatest player, not part of the greatest team?
No.
So let's take the rings out of the mix.
No, you can't.
Right?
Because at the end of the day, because listen, this is the thing. At the end of the day, the only thing that counts, we don't pay a player to come to a team.
So Allen Iverson was not a great player in the NBA?
He was a great player, but he can't be
one of the greatest players in
He don't have no goddamn ring.
But he can't. Does
he have a ring?
No, he doesn't.
Does he have a ring?
And he can't be. I didn't say that LeBron wasn't great. I said that there's probably 3 players greater than him. There's 3 greater than him.
Yeah, but you use championships as an example of why they were great.
The chip is what we play for. At the end of the day, we don't play to be. There's no participation ribbons in this. You either win, like they said, you win or you go home.
Well, all right. Well, dang.
I'm just saying.
All right. I'm just saying. You gonna hit me with a juke right now? You gonna put 1 up? Gonna put a 3 up?
Hey man, I got 2 words for Zayden. You ready?
No.
Teddy Pendergrass. How about that? You don't want to talk about the ice no more? We're going to talk about Teddy Pendergrass. How about that, playboy?
Look, man. Teddy Pendergrass is a legend, and he got millions of records sold. Leave Teddy Pendergrass alone. He ain't done nothing to nobody or no transvestite that we know of and I'm pointing at you. Let me see it. Right in there. I'm about to DJ envy you, Lamont.
But it's all right. I mean, we still go see Eddie Murphy movies.
Whoa.
I mean, what? Gotta see.
No, it's a real 100. I always felt a certain kind of way, and it was a style at that time. When Eddie Murphy came out in the purple suit in Raw back in the 80s, I used to be like, why is my man's suit so tight? Even in Delirious, the red one, why is that so tight? Like, what was he trying to tell us back then? With the glove, with the little pinky ring? Like, what was that about?
Maynard?
Why y'all ask me? I'm not on the Eddie
I
Murphy
mean, you're
management
voting on
team.
Teddy, so I figured.
I'm not on the
you
Eddie Murphy management. I was not involved. Let me make this clear. I was not involved in Eddie Murphy's styling at any point in my past in my career. No, I don't know. I mean, I feel like this. It was the '80s, for instance, with the first one, the Delirious joint, and Prince was the biggest thing out. And maybe he was trying to be like Prince. I don't know. He was trying. I know one thing. He had, at least with the very first one, he had just become a rock star, Eddie Murphy. He had just kind of ascended to that status. Before then, he was funny. He was Saturday Night Live funny. He was, ensemble funny. Like, there'd be like 8 comedians and he has a slot in the show. But now he's at that point, he had his own HBO special. The HBO specials right then were just becoming a thing, and he had achieved rock star status for a comedian. So maybe that's what rock stars do. They wear leather. I don't know. I mean, I think this is Lamont. You've been in the music industry forever. When it happens, when you sell after you sell like 1.3 million records, don't they just like give you a leather outfit?
I mean, did you just see that tennis serve? You see that serve you just gave me? No, that's not the case. No, sir.
I mean, once you hit like a certain number of records, they'd be like, look, what do you wear? A size 38? Okay, here's a size 32. Squeeze into this, put some Vaseline on your body and squeeze into this. I mean,
I've never seen Jay in a leather outfit, so no, we good. No, not everybody's not like that.
All right, I'm just jealous.
I want to segue into voting because 2018 is coming up. We all know that, the midterm elections are extremely important, and then it's going to be followed right back with 2020. In the 2016 election, voting was an issue. It's always that issue when we're talking about African Americans getting people out to vote. Maynard, is it a matter of getting people to the polls? What's more important, registering people to vote or actually getting people to the polls?
I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is getting people to the polls. That's the most important thing. Voter apathy is always a challenge. And in many cities around the country, next week, there will be elections. May 1st, for instance, in Hampton Roads, or where I live in Virginia, most of the cities are having an election. And that's usually for mayor and school board and local elections. These particular elections usually see about a 15 to 20% turnout. So if we know in a certain city that there are, 60,000 voters and 20% show up, that's only 12,000 people. That's a lot of people whose voices are not getting heard. So we gotta do that. And then the second thing also is true. We gotta make sure people are registered to vote. They can participate in this thing. This thing of ours called the democracy. It does work, and it's the worst form of government and the worst way to do business, except for all the rest of them. So
break this down for people who don't understand about, the midterms. Republicans are trying to keep the House and the Senate. Democrats are trying to flip it. If you can, break it down on both sides why that's important. Starting with the Democrats. Democrats flipping the House and the Senate.
Well, the answer is simple for both, and that is he or she or the party that controls the floor of the Senate and the House gets to essentially set the agenda. Let's look at, for instance, during Barack's, last year or so, the Republicans had the House and the Senate. As a result, Barack nominated the boy, what was his name? Goodness gracious, for U.S. Supreme Court. Is Garrett or something to that effect? I can't remember.
Gorsuch?
No.
Yeah,
Gorsuch was the Trump appointee, but it was whoever his name was. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I apologize. We'll get that up on the show notes. But he nominated this gentleman to be the judge. Because the Senate controlled the floor and the agenda, Mitch McConnell said, we just won't hear it. We just won't hear it. They didn't give him a yes or no vote. They just said, we're not even going to bring it up. He said, I got a whole bunch of things to do. Oh, yeah, Barack, you're a nominee. Ain't on my list. I'm sorry. So that's one thing. You get to control the agenda. And then the next big thing is you also get controlling interest in every committee. So that, typically what they do is the committees are, 12 people or 11 people or 12 people or whatever the number is, the party in control has an unfair advantage. So if they say a committee was 9 people, the 5 would be for the party that has more, that has control of that particular chamber, and the 4 would be for the minority party. So the majority party gets to, put more people on seats. So what does that mean? That means things like the FCC, where we're talking about net neutrality, that right now is Republican held. If we're talking about all the other seats that exist, and I think the FCC is a bad example because I think that's at the president's discretion. So that's not really a House situation. But all the other ones is just the Judiciary Committee, the special investigation committees that come out of the House and or Senate. You have something called a chairman, and you have a ranking person. The ranking person is number 2. The chair is number 1. So in certain instances, like Devin Nunes was number 1 in that, it was number 1, and the ranking is a Democrat, and Devin Nunes gets to run wild. He gets to do whatever he wants to do because nobody is checking him because we don't have control.
So, talk about, I'm sorry, Lamont, I just want to kind of really break this down for people because I think it is important, because I think that some of the times what happens is that people go to the polls not knowing what they're voting for, why they're voting, and then some people rule out the fact that my vote doesn't count, I shouldn't be voting or anything of that nature, because nobody, is breaking it down to the lowest common denominator of what that means. And so if we can, on the trickle down, part of it, what does that mean for me? I'm a voter. Let's take this, decriminalization of weed, right? Let's talk about flipping. If I'm a Democrat and I like, what X, Y, and Z, what does that mean for the voter? If you can explain that.
Well, I think voting at the national level and at the local level and in between, they all provide indicators to different sections of the population. What I mean by that is, if the country, we always see this, the country is leaning more to the left because of so and such issue, or the country is leaning more to the right because of this issue or that other issue, or whatever the case may be. And therefore, the candidates in other races respond to that. So if we saw that the country began leaning to the left further and further on marijuana, on decriminalization of marijuana, then local governments, state governments will start to decriminalize it because they're understanding that the national election is an indicator on those things. And we are seeing that is happening. The country started leaning further and further to the left on homosexuality and gay rights and gay marriage, etc., under Barack Obama, for instance. And many parts of the country started to respond to that. Many states responded to that by saying, "Oh, what business is it of ours if people want to get married and they happen to be of the same sex?" So that's one thing. Now, where does it affect actually, like where the boots on the ground for the law? That's very murky because most people live in places where the laws are, for the most part, affected by their mayor, by their city council persons, by their governor and their state, what have you. But most people think of the president as running the world. The president doesn't put stop signs in your neighborhood, or the president of the United States doesn't make sure that there's a school being built in your community if the old school is bad. So we have to learn to participate in all of these elections wholeheartedly, because if you live somewhere, and not only participate in the elections, we also have to participate in the census. That's really critical as well. It's almost as important, if not more so, because when we participate in those types of programs like the census and the election is your voice getting heard. But the census is a way that not only is your voice heard, but we understand what you need. It's different from just, hey, we need to pay attention to these people. The census is, we are paying attention. You said you need a school. You said you need a community center, and that's what we're going to respond to you with.
Lamont, you want to respond, or you want to just add?
No, first I want to make sure I go back to these judges. I want to make sure I had that right. Wasn't it the lady, Sonia
Sotomayor?
Was that the one that Barack appointed that one, correct?
He did.
Right. Was she black, Maynard?
She's Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican, okay, gotcha. I'm going to put her in the black category. Shout out to Puerto Rican, but okay. I just want to make sure. But what was the judge name
His name is
Merrick
Merrick Garland. I'm sorry, I couldn't. I brain farted. His name was Merrick Garland.
Garland. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I just want to make sure I got that
Yeah,
one
it
right.
does get a little confusing because Gorsuch, Garland, both with a G. You know.
Right. Okay, cool.
My apologies, America. I should be up on that. I should be up
It's
on
all
top
good,
of stuff.
but here's my only issue that I have with what Maynard said is that. So you mean to tell me when that guy comes to my front door with the clipboard, I got to open the door and give him all of my information?
Yeah, man. You got to participate in the census, and most often the census is not somebody coming to your door. Most often the census is sent to you in the mail, and if you just respond to the mailer, you don't have to open your door and feel like somebody's encroaching. But answer the questions. The questions in the census are, I don't know what exactly the questions are going to be, but the answers that they get from the census are: do we need to put more schools over here? Do we need another community center? Are there needs? Are there needs for more public housing programs in this area? Do we need to have more moderate to low income housing options? In so many parts of the country, communities have housing options that are not accessible. We were talking a little bit in the pre-show about the possibility of moving to parts of California, and there are people who live in California who are living 2 and 3 hours away from their job because they can't afford to live closer. At the end of the day, you could live in New York City, and who has moved the minimum wage up, and to like I forget what they moved it up to, is it $15 or something like that? You could work at McDonald's and have a job that you're doing your level-headed best at, but you still can't afford to live in that city on that salary.
When putting the question of are you a U.S. citizen on the census and the whole thing about immigrants, is that going to affect how we look at more people in the United States, and is that going to affect the voting process? That makes sense.
I don't think it's going to. I don't think that part affects the voting process. But what it will do is it will affect participation rates in the census. People who are going to have to answer that question will be afraid of that question and therefore not answer and participate. The downside of participation is this: we have to participate so we can know. And that's all the census is supposed to be designed to do, to give the government an opportunity to know where all the people are. We don't necessarily need to know where Maynard is or Lamont is, but we need to know if there's a large population in this community that's hiding in the shadows, that we don't know how to make sure that there's a hospital that's accessible to those people that's nearby.
Maynard, can't they just call T-Mobile? Or Boost? They can't call T-Mobole or Boost?
Oh my goodness, you're funny. No,
is that a no?
That's a no. And the reasons are these, man. So you have T-Mobile or Boost, or somebody may have T-Mobile or Boost or Sprint or whatever.
No shade, but I do not have T-Mobile or Boost. I'm an adult. I have an adult cell phone carrier.
Oh, okay. All right.
So T-Mobile, scratch that. I know we just sent a proposal for sponsorship for this show. Just scratch what he just said. Just scratch what he just said.
It's all satire. It's all satire.
It's all tongue in cheek. That's what it is. Go ahead.
The thing is, certainly we understand that you can look at certain types of records. Like, we could call the electric company and find out from the electric company everybody who has electricity. And that's great, except we don't know how many children they have in that house. We don't know how many. All we know is that somebody's name is on the T-Mobile bill or on the electricity bill. But are there 4 or 5 children living there? Or is there an elderly grandparent that lives there? Are there cousins who, got displaced because they lived in Puerto Rico and Puerto Rico was without power or the rebuilding, and they moved back to the main to the United States. So we need to know what kind of services our communities need based on the populations that exist there. And it's not just how many people. A lot of times it's what types of people. It's elderly people. So as a result, we need to have more hospice care communities that are close by. Or it's young people. The population is X number of children under the age of 12. Therefore, man, that trend is not changing. We need to build more schools and more daycare centers and things of that nature.
All right, let's get to Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani. Lamont, let me start with you. Why did Trump hire Rudy Giuliani?
It's a New York thing. I figure, he knows that his world is crumbling, and you go back to what you know. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Giuliani is a Queens guy, but he went back to the New York thing. And he said if somebody's going to be able to get down and dirty, I mean, we all know Rudy's history. Definitely, we don't want to get to the racial piece of it all, but I think just being like a not so nice guy, not, above board, not of a high ethical status. And, Rudy ain't none of that. You know what I mean? So he had to go back to what he knows. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Because it's about to get messy. I don't know if there's any cuffs going to be involved, because, when Donald Trump is talking about pardoning someone who's been dead for how many years, Maynard? Jack Johnson.
Oh, my gosh, right.
Yeah.
When I said it, I said, oh, yeah, it's getting close.
I read that. I'm so sorry. I read that, and I was like, I hope he doesn't think that Jack Johnson is alive.
Exactly.
I don't think that, that is the case in regards to that wasn't the case, right? I mean, I know he thought that Frederick Douglass was still in the
right. So my man he's talking about pardoning dead people, and that could be a Rudy Giuliani move. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. Rudy could have said, listen, man, let's talk about
I thought he hired Rudy for the Mueller case.
Right, he did. He did, but I think I
just want to make sure I'm on the right page. I'm not that smart.
I don't think that he understands exactly what it takes to be a winner in this industry. He continues to hire weird people. Rudy Giuliani. Yeah. First of all, I think the big thing is I don't know. Lamont said it's a New York thing. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. There is a belief that everybody who's the best at anything comes from New York City. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
I want to go back to, Lamont's point about Rudy Giuliani and his tactics, though. What do you mean by that?
Well, I don't think that there are any tactics. I don't think there is any strategy. He said he's going to negotiate a settlement immediately. That the Mueller case is going to be over. I think, first of all, we got to remember this. Rudy Giuliani hasn't practiced law in
since I was born.
30 years, probably, something like that.
Right.
He had a successful stint as mayor of New York. We can't take that off of him. But he's gotten a little bit older. Robert Mueller has like the dream team, and Rudy Giuliani is like, I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna dust off the old law books and come in here and I'm gonna win. We're gonna run play 274.
All that dirt.
Fall back, homie. Fall back.
Baby, go down in the deep cellar and get those law books I have from 1948.
Right. And so my feeling is that Rudy Giuliani, he's probably, he's overmatched. He's not ready for this. In addition to that, but this is the bigger question. Rudy Giuliani needs to be clear that he's not actually, part of the crime. There are at least on my count, two things that Rudy Giuliani has done that's indicated that he may have been part of something. So at one point he says on Fox News back in 2016, something big is about to break in the next 2 or 3 days. And 3 days later, something big breaks from WikiLeaks and Julian Assange and whoever, right? So are you part of this? And then the other thing, which it's always been in our intro and on our webpage, like, how does Rudy Giuliani know that Hillary Clinton is sick? Like, he was like, Hillary Clinton is sick.
He's a voodoo practicer, as Lamont would say. And here's what, and let me ask a stupid question though, Maynard, and Lamont, you can expand on this. Why is he hiring Rudy Giuliani to be a part of the Mueller case? Let me understand. Mueller is investigating Trump in regards to collusion with Russia. Am I right about that?
He's investigating. No.
Okay, then explain that to me so I'm on the right same page.
This is what, I think the media has helped us frame this. And it's truth. But the media has helped us frame it as there was a collusion issue. No, the answer really, truly is Russia interfered with our elections. We just want to get to the bottom of it. And if collusion happens to be a part of it, then so be it. But Russia interfered. If Russia interfered and we find out by investigating Russia's interference that Joe Biden plays the drums and butt naked, then we just happen to find that out. It's just a byproduct of investigating.
Where you go at Joe?
Right. I'm
just trying to listen to what I'm saying. You just have to understand that there are tons of byproducts that may come of this. We're investigating it. And what happens is Donald Trump has been implicated in this thing. And if that implication is true, then it's true. It just is what it is. We can't discount the idea that it's all about collusion. It's not all about collusion. Collusion just happens to be a byproduct.
Okay, so thank you for saying that. But I guess where I'm going, and you've answered that question, but I guess where I'm going is Donald Trump hiding something by hiring Rudy Giuliani?
Donald Trump is hiding something no matter what he's doing. He's hiding a lot. Okay. And the idea that he's concerned, or anyone's concerned that Michael Cohen may flip means, Michael Cohen can't flip if there was nothing to flip for. So that would either mean that Michael Cohen is a liar and he's lying on Donald Trump because Donald Trump has done absolutely nothing wrong and he's never whatever, and Michael Cohen's just going to make up something, or there's really something there that Michael Cohen has that he can share with investigators to get himself a deal, which he probably will try to figure out how to get himself a deal.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the week where somebody has said some stupid-ish and they have to choke on their words. Maynard, it is time for the cactus of the week. It's all you.
And we will bring you that cactus when we come right back after this break.
Okay, we'll go into a break.
All right.
I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Oh, thank you, everybody. Y'all still there. God bless you, America.
At least Lim and I are.
Oh, okay. And everybody in Jamaica and Puerto Rico and all the islands and people who want to call me a Sambo, thank you. I appreciate it.
You giving a cactus to them?
No.
Whoa!
No. The listeners, the people who love us, the fans, even the fans who hate us, they never get a cactus. We celebrate.
Even the lady that called you a Sambo?
She called me a Sambo, but she don't get it.
They call you a Sambo.
Carol Williams, and God bless Carol, because you know what, it's important that we got people out there letting us know when we getting it right and we're getting it wrong. Now I disagree with her, and I think she, But
which part? With her comment or that you're a Sambo?
Yeah, we are.
All of the above. All of the above, my dude. All of the above. But but I like to this past week, or at the Coachella week, or what I like to call the Lamont falling in love with Beyonce all over again week, brought us a young artist that we've been watching and been knowing, Vince Staples. Vince came out that week of Coachella, and in one of the interviews in Coachella, Vince said R. Kelly is a pedophile. That very well may be true. And as a result, I don't know why this happened. And Lamont, maybe you can help me. I need some help on this cactus. R. Kelly's publicist, Trevian Cuddy, said effective April 16, 2018, so just late last week, I no longer represent Mr. Robert Kelly. Now, he'd been rocking out with R. Kelly for a minute, and all of a sudden, R. Kelly is persona non grata. He's an untouchable. All of a sudden, R. Kelly's lawyer and his publicist are like, yo, my dude, we can't rock out with you no more. What has R. Kelly done at this point here recently that has caused these cats to back away and say that they can't rock with R. Kelly? Y'all were rocking with R. Kelly when he was getting money. And he had that videotape out. Y'all was still rocking with him then. I think the boy Cuddy actually wrote a really very interesting way to explain away R. Kelly's odd behavior or the video. But the news came that these guys decided, Trevion Cuddy and his lawyer said they were no longer involved with R. Kelly after news came that R. Kelly knowingly and intentionally infected a 19-year-old woman with an STD, and he was grooming her for his sex cult.
We're never gonna get picked up in the network.
I mean, I'm just reading the news. So R. Kelly is giving 19-year-olds, he's giving them an opportunity to participate in his sex cult, and as a result, entry fees for that is take this STD. R. Kelly, my dude, I don't know what your situation is. You know, I used to believe you could fly, but my man, you got to get your act together out here. There's a lot of young girls out here that probably are owed monies to and counseling for some of the things that you've done. You can't sit here and say, you know, the same way that these rumors, for instance, about Puff consist and continue from on and on and on from 20, 30 years ago. We've seen the video. We've seen him marry Aaliyah. We remember the time, I think it was Teray actually, who was on the show. Shout out to Teray, who asked R. Kelly the question one time, do you like teenage girls? And he asked, well, how young is teenage?
That's so classic. That's classic.
What you mean teenage? Like, teenage, you like 30-something years. At the time, he was like 33 years old.
Right.
You know, what are you doing? So I just feel like R. Kelly this week, my dude, for your activities in the past, for the news that you giving 19-year-olds STDs, you running a sex cult, cactus.
How old is Robert right now? 50?
Yeah.
Got to be 51, maybe.
Yeah.
I think he might be on the 5'1".
Yeah. And he out here with 19-year-olds? That's first of all, Kelly. Why are you out here with 19-year-olds?
He's 51.
Like, come on, B. Time to grow up a little bit. At least let's get into some 30, 32, 34s. 19 to 51. Nah, man. Time for you to...
Spud, did your cameraman pan you over or something?
No, I'm sorry.
I thought you get with your cameraman over there, man. I don't have comms to your cameraman to tell him to be like, yo. And Lamont cameraman just wouldn't put his show off to the side.
That's because he's leaning to the side. He don't want to make no comment about Kelly.
Yeah. What's the deal with R. Kelly, Lamont?
Well, let me just say this, man. Is that the clinical term for a pedophile is someone with a psychotic disorder in which an adult or an older adolescent experiences a primary or exclusive sexual attraction to children. And if that's the case, his history has shown that. Like on this podcast, you made a comment about Rihanna, Maynard. And I said to you, even though I'm happily married, right? If I had to choose between Gayle King and Rihanna, I'm going with Gayle. Remember that, Maynard?
Yeah, I remember that. But I'm gonna tell you this: you clowned Gayle, though. You clowned her, and I didn't appreciate that. You said something about her wig, and I'm not feeling that.
Listen.
Hey, come on! Yeah. There you go again with.
I'm just
stop
saying.
That. You know Oprah is watching. Oprah, we sorry. He don't mean to talk about Gayle. He don't know he's doing Oprah.
All I'm saying is, to me, when it comes to Rihanna, even though she's not, she's like a baby. Like babies, like the way that I'm wired, that's a young child. And I think Robert, unfortunately, he has a history of being attracted to younger children.
Yeah, but how old is Rihanna, though? Let's just get that clear.
She's like a baby.
30, yeah. What, is she 33, 34?
I can still be her daddy. How about that?
She's 30 years old.
Yeah, so I literally could be her daddy. Maybe a couple times. How about that?
No, you could. Not a couple of times.
Not a couple of times.
Maybe. Well, if I started early, bro. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Robert.
She's 30. It's legal in my book.
What you want me to say about Robert, man?
Yeah, who was it that used to rep Robert? That used to come to the G?
George Daniels. George and Regina.
Yeah, no, but they used to send old boy in.
Brian Harris.
Brian.
Yeah, Brian Harris.
Brian. Yeah, shout out to Brian. He was.
That's his man.
Yeah,
He still rock with him.
He do because when the first came out way back and he was on trial and it was I guess that was 2000 2001. Brian was like, nope, R.Kelly is about to make a hit record. I don't care what y'all say.
Yeah.
Benny Pugh used to do the same thing.
About who? Not about Robert.
No, about Kiki Wyatt though.
Oh,
I was like, what happened to Kiki Wyatt? Oh, yeah, I don't know. Them Kiki Wyatt got a smash record right now. Yeah, but what happened to Kiki Wyatt?
Don't worry about what happened to Kiki.
Only thing you need to know about Kiki Wyatt is that she got a smash right now.
That's it.
Did she smash her husband in the stomach?
Well, as I said, cactus for old Robert. Chew on that, my dude.
All right, we out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for being a part of this episode of Three Black Guys with the Mic. Make sure you go to the website, look at this episode as well as other past episodes. Get yourself a T-shirt. If you buy one, Maynard said he'll buy you another one. So to buy one, get one free. There you go.
BOGO.
Who knew? There it is. BOGO happening.
And don't order a black one. Order one that's got color in it. Do something.
Why
do
are
something.
you telling people what they want? Like, listen.
That's what
if I want a black shirt,
he's a Sambo.
I should be able to buy a black shirt.
Whoa, Lamont. What's all the revision? Cactus. Lamont Hayes. It's been 69 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Lamont Hayes has been a damn thorn in my side. And I got to tell y'all, I'm tired of it. I'm mad as hell. I can't take it no more.
Sambo.
Also, be a part of the conversation at facebook.com/3 Black Guys with the Mic. You know what? We don't care about your comments. Just make a comment. You can obviously call us whatever it is that you want.
No.
And the guy in the middle will accept it.
Maynard will. Don't call me no Sambo, because I'll block your ass. How about that?
That sounded so thugged out. I'll block your ass.
I will block you. How about that?
He sounded like
We'll do it again next Tuesday, man. Make sure you share this episode and further previous episodes of Three Black Guys with the Mic with your friends. We'll do it again next week right here on Three Black Guys with the Mic. Holla.